Hello everybody, this is Gregory with how I lost over 100 pounds and kept it off for 30 plus years, where there should be no hesitance in your weight loss and in your weight maintenance. Today we're going to finish up the trilogy of items in your house to purge by talking about non-food items. Now before we begin, if you need help with weight loss, especially from the psychological point of view, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. I might be able to help you. Also check out my website, which has tons of articles and recipes. Check out my podcast, The Awakened Man. And lastly, my books. And if you appreciate my content, please hit the like button and make a donation via PayPal. All right, so I'll definitely put banners in for part 1 and part 2, which was talking about what items from the pantry and the fridge that you must purge. And this is, again, especially today's, we're looking at things that sabotage your weight loss, but also just things that are not good for you. We know a high sugar diet is carcinogenic. It leads to a higher rate of getting cancer. We know that alcohol is a type 1 carcinogen, and we know that diets full of preservatives are not good for overall health. So we don't want to separate like, well, these things obviously aren't good for you because they're junky, nutrient deficient foods like chips, like blue corn chips, for example. You could argue that if you get organic blue corn chips, there's no GMO corn, so there's nothing in there that's like bad for you're increasing your chance of getting cancer. But we don't want to look at the two things mutually exclusive, because the whole goal is to lose weight but also have longevity of life. And there are things that in your house could jeopardize both, but even just jeopardize one. So we want to have a life that's long and a high quality life. So today we're going to look at non-food stuff. Now some of these things might be things that you probably have never heard about because they're only talked about kind of in the naturopathy, in the holistic world, in the what some would be calling the medical conspiracy world, which if you go to my podcast, The Awakened Man, there's probably like 380, 90 episodes, and some would call some of those episodes medical conspiracies, but they're just things that people don't talk about. But let's get to it. Fluoridated water is a problem. It's a problem. We have articles in, I think, Awakened Man, episode 20, 25. We have a 2-part series on how fluoride got into the water supply originally about 100 years ago, and then the reasons why fluoridated water is bad for you. In short, I would highly recommend that you get a filter. You can get these on Amazon. The way that we actually get fluoridated water is not necessarily for our tap water, even though most large cities do have fluoridated water. It's actually from the shower because we inhale it. So you can buy a filter there, and then you can certainly buy fluoride filters to screw onto your sink or to your fridge. There's many of those. Now, the more conventional, well-known water cleaners do not clean out fluoride. So you really need to look into that when you're buying it to make sure that it says it takes out fluoride. Now, it might take out radon 222 and chlorine and microbes, which are all great to take out. But fluoride is a known neurotoxin. It lowers IQ. Harvard released a study about this 10 years ago, how it lowers the IQ, in particular of African American children. It's systematically for your body, it's bad. It can lead to rotting your bones, and it can lead to a high rate of cancer, and it's a hormone disruptor. So you want to ideally get fluoride out of your house. Now, when you go drink from a water fountain, in case you can't avoid it, if you're eating packaged foods like cereals, they're going to have fluoride in it because they're just made using water, and they're not going to put a fluoride remover at the factory plant because that's too expensive. But just day in, day out water, fluoride-free, baby, fluoride-free. And please don't be giving your kids your babies fluoride-added water. Oh, that just drives me crazy when I see this at the grocery store. What else? Plastics. Plastics are a major problem. We might have a standalone episode here. I have several articles and several podcasts at Awaken Man early on about plastics. Plastics are another hormone disruptor. They're what we call xenoestrogens. Xeno means foreign. And so in particular in men, it throws off our balance of sexual hormones like testosterone and estrogen. And with women, it makes them have too much estrogen, which is linked to breast cancer, for example, and having reproductive issues. So plastics are a major problem. They're also linked to hormone disruption that's non-sexual, and even to weight gain. Because think about like what controls our body? What controls our metabolism? It's hormones. So if you're throwing anything off that's hormone related, it can theoretically throw off your weight gain, or weight loss, I should say. So in the house, you got to get rid of the Tupperware. Especially don't ever warm up your Tupperware, please. Many of you be like, well, Gregory, I use BPA-free plastics, but I understand that's just a bait and switch. They just put in bisphenol S or Triton or one of these other plasticizers. So they're not lying to you because it might not have BPA, but it has other ones in there. The best thing is just have all your cups be ceramics, glass and ceramics, and you really don't need plastics. And look, if it's like you have chips, blue corn chips, they come in a plastic bag. That's not a main problem. It's mostly the liquids. So when you buy bottled water is a major problem. When you buy soups, which are coursing in BPA because the lining inside all cans is BPA, that's a problem. You're going to be doing that. And then a lot of you guys open the can, pour it in the Tupperware, warm up the Tupperware. It's like, no! So try to throw out all plastics in your house for sure. In particular, this is going to be any of the Tupperware, and then not to drink bottled water at all. And again, if you want more information on this, I mean, you could certainly Google it, but I have stuff at Naturopathic Earth and at The Awakened Man about this. Parabens. Parabens are preservatives that they put in makeup, so makeup doesn't get rancid. Yes, makeup can get rancid. They don't want it to get fungal laden. So parabens, and that's kind of the family of the family name. There's propylparaben, methylparaben, oxyparaben. You're typically going to find these in lotions, sunscreens, toothpaste, deodorants, and stuff like that. You want to buy paraben free. And you'll see this, nowadays, again, 15 years ago it was so much harder. You couldn't find any of these like BPA free, paraben free. But nowadays you can certainly find cosmetics and toiletries that are paraben free. So that's not as hard of a thing to do. Parabens are another hormone disruptor, and we want to get them removed from our life pretty quickly. I do have some essential oil deodorant recipes and shampoo recipes and detergent recipes at Naturopathic Earth. So you don't have to buy deodorant, which of course is laden with parabens. And your Bath and Body Works lotion has parabens. Just look on the back. 90% of lotions have parabens in them. So you want to get those out of your life because again, they can affect your health in a pernicious way and even your weight loss, weight journey. Environmental Working Group, I've mentioned that kind of consumer advocate group, consumer watch group before when we talked about the dirty dozen and the pesticides in our fruits and vegetables, and they do a good job. They have an app called Skin Deep, and you can download that app, and then any shampoo, conditioner, lotions that you have in your house, you can type in there and they'll tell you like what toxic stuff's in there that can affect your health in a negative way. Phthalates. So going back to plastic, so our water comes typically in PVC pipes. There's not much we can do about that. So unfortunately, you can't do much about that. Phthalates are found in a lot of things in our house, and a lot of vinyl stuff, anything that's got vinyl in it, in our backpacks and a lot of toys. And again, it's hard to remove these things, but when you're thinking of buying these things, try to find phthalate-free. Volatile organic compounds, VOCs. VOCs you typically are probably most famous for being in paints. You can buy VOC-free paint. We breathe those in. Brand new furniture, mattresses, anything that you buy are loaded with VOCs. I would highly recommend to try to find an organic. I know that's weird, organic mattresses and furniture, but if you can't do that, if you got to buy all the crap that comes from China with the manufactured wood, air it out in the garage for a week before you actually bring it in your house. Indoor air is actually more polluted than outdoor air because of all the carpet cleaners, cologne, sprays, and all these things that we use around the house. What else is bad? The conventional cleaner sprays. Fabuloso, 409, all these, very toxic, very toxic. What you need to clean the house with is very simple. Just get white vinegar, throw some soap in there, throw some essential oils, and then spray. It's going to kill the large majority of your bacteria, but most of the sprays are bad. And in fact, I would tell you, like, if you go down the aisle of all the cleaners, toilet cleaner, the sprays, the carpet cleaners, your starch for your ironing, all this stuff, detergents, have issues, sodium lauryl sulfates in a lot of them. Just, you can make these homemade. There's homemade detergents you can make. It's not hard. Homemade deodorants as well. We've talked about before that you really don't need to be spraying yourself with colognes and perfumes. So a lot of these things, like what? I don't know. I've never even heard of these things. You don't have to listen to what I'm telling you. Last one I talk about is I would say was much more controversial 20 years ago, but not as much now. This is going to be electromagnetic radiation or EMF. Everything is smart now. Smart refrigerators, of course, the smart TV, smart ovens. Your electronic readers outside, a lot of them are smart now too. I would tell you that we don't have time to cover it in this episode, but be wary. Be wary. There's a lot of studies that show it affects sperm motility, a higher rate of getting cancer, hip fractures, all these. It's a problem. Brain tumors, acoustic neuroma, neuroglioblastomas, things like this. So I would tell you little things that you can do around your house. I'm not saying you have to get a tinfoil hat and wrap it around the entire house, a tinfoil house. But turn off your router at night. There's no reason to have that on at night. And put your phone on airplane mode. Do not sleep with your phone next to you. And then when you're making calls, even though no one really makes calls anymore, make sure the phone is away from you because it emits a lot of radiation when you're doing calls, driving at fast distances, I should say, not necessarily in your house. But try to keep the phone as far away from you as possible. Guys, these are just a few things. I'd like to hear from you. Post in the comments. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care. God bless and pray.